Welcome to reality. You're now on the Code of Mind channel. Most of you have probably heard about so-called weird manifestation tricks or those absurd reality hacks. For a long time, no one took them seriously. I mean, red underwear hanging on a chandelier, walking an iron on a leash, it all looked like kindergarten nonsense, or a sign that someone had completely lost their mind. Serious people spent years fighting their problems using logic, planning, and hard work, looking down on this kind of thing from a distance. But here's the paradox. Time passed and the internet became flooded with positive stories. People started sharing how after one ridiculous jump off a chair, long-standing legal battles suddenly resolved. Or how, after making a completely absurd phone call to an imaginary character, impossible debts just disappeared. And today, when we begin to understand that the world is not just matter and water, but a highly complex informational neural network, it's time to figure out what this actually is. For those who still don't get it or confuse it with occult practices, this is not magic. This is a playful psychological system based on absurdity. It's not a religion, not a cult, not candles and spells. It's a way of interacting with reality through humor and intentional nonsense that completely breaks common sense. In modern terms, this is hacking the user interface of the Matrix. This system is built on three core principles. First, absurd action. You do something your brain considers stupid or impossible. From the system's perspective, you create a glitch. The usual life algorithms no longer apply to you, and the system is forced to generate a new path. Second, identity shift. In this method, you drop your usual identity, the one tied to problems, lack, or struggle, and take on a completely absurd new role. This is not just a game. This is changing your user ID in the database of reality. You literally move out of the targeting system of your old problems. Third, the state of lightness. This is the main goal of every practice. That feeling of playful confidence when you don't care what anyone thinks, while you're doing something completely ridiculous like fishing money through a window. That exact state, joy, ease, and emotional lift, is the signal reality responds to. In simple terms, you stop knocking on a locked door and just walk through the wall because you suddenly realize the wall is just an image on a screen. Have you ever noticed how problems seem to follow you everywhere? Like they're glued to you? There's a simple explanation. Every problem in the system has your exact identification attached to it. Your name, your role, your identity, the trap of being serious. Imagine the world as a massive invisible network constantly scanning you. If in this system you are registered as Maria, single, stressed, with debt and chronic headaches, then the system, like a polite waiter, keeps serving you the same menu every single day. Bills, loneliness, problems. You can get angry, cry, try to fix things logically. But to the system, you are still that same version of Maria. You are locked inside your identity like in a cage. So how do you break this script? In this method, you give yourself a completely wild, absurd name. For example, I am the one who tickles fluffy clouds with my heel. And this is where it gets interesting. The moment you truly accept this identity with laughter, the system glitches. Let me give you a real example. A friend of mine couldn't sell her apartment for months. 0 calls, nothing. Agents had no answers. So she decided to try something different. She renamed herself the Fairy of Golden Keys and Fast Deals. And she didn't just write it down, she became it. She walked around her apartment wearing a paper crown, waving an old slipper like a magic wand, saying, "The keys are ringing, the buyers are coming." What happened on the system level? The old version of her, the one with the unsellable apartment, simply disappeared from the radar. All problems tied to that identity could no longer find her. The address changed. 3 days later, a buyer showed up and bought the apartment without negotiation. Your debts, conflicts, everyday struggles, they are programs designed to work with serious identities. But the moment you become something else and like a dragon slayer of long lines, you break that connection. You walk into a bank where people are usually rude and slow, but you are no longer a tired customer. You are a character the system does not recognize. The system scans you and gets confused. Wait, stress should be here, but this doesn't match the profile. And suddenly, the employee smiles. The paperwork is done instantly. The line disappears. Reality starts rendering differently. The world is a mirror reflecting your internal identity. If you call yourself the general of luck riding a white unicorn, the system has no choice but to load matching conditions. Old rules stop applying to you. You step outside the general control system where crises and problems are predefined. You become a free creator. You decide how the world sees you and what it brings you. And the most powerful part, the more absurd your new identity is, the weaker your old problems can hold on to you. They simply have nothing to attach to. Have you noticed that when you're genuinely having fun, traffic lights turn green, people call you at the right moment, money appears out of nowhere? That's the state. Now here's the key. Why nothing works without laughter. This is the only system where seriousness is the main mistake. The moment you try it with tension, okay, I'll try. Maybe it works. You fail instantly. Why? Because seriousness creates resistance. And resistance, in physics terms, pushes back against you. You press on reality, and reality presses back. But when you're in joy, everything flows. Now let's look deeper at what's happening under the hood of the universe. Our world is filled with infinite possible outcomes. Most of these outcomes are just informational noise, your fears, other people's beliefs, and constant negative news. When you enter that light, playful state, your internal frequency rises sharply. Joy and laughter act like powerful filters. They wipe out the noise. And in that moment, the space around you becomes a blank page. Resistance disappears because joy has no enemies in the nature of reality. The law of reduced importance. This is where the biggest secret lies. The less pressure you put on a problem, the faster it resolves. Imagine your problem as a bird trapped in your fist. The tighter you squeeze, thinking about debts, worrying about relationships, the less chance it has to fly away. Lightness and humor make you open your hand. The moment you start doing something absurd, like walking an iron on a leash or dancing with a broom, your attention shifts from the problem to the game. Importance drops to zero. And in that moment, according to the laws of the micro-world, your situation enters a state of uncertainty. It stops being fixed and negative. It becomes a cloud of probabilities from which the version you need instantly materializes. This playful state is your protection against failure. It's the state where you don't force outcomes and you allow them. You simply remove your serious, anxious self from the path of your own happiness. Remember, the universe is a living, responsive system, and it always plays along more willingly with those who can smile back at it. Now many people ask, why do you need to jump or do something physically strange at all? Why isn't it enough to just think or imagine? The answer lies in how your mind and body work. Your body is an anchor to your old reality. Your brain is slow to change. You can tell yourself all day that you're successful and abundant, but your body still remembers the old patterns. How you slump from exhaustion, how your shoulders tighten from stress, how you sigh when looking at bills. Your body stores the old program at a cellular level. It literally holds you in the reality you're trying to leave. So why the jump? Physical action is a decisive signal to your entire biological system. When you jump with the intention of entering a new life, you perform an action that cannot be undone. At the moment your feet leave the ground, your body loses support for a split second. In that moment of weightlessness, old patterns pause. This is your exit point from the old track. You send a command to your system. The old script is over. When I land, I'm already someone else in a different version of reality. Instant recalculation. From the system's perspective, this is a kind of quantum shift. The universe is constantly calculating billions of possible futures. As long as you stay still and think the same thoughts, it gives you the same outcomes. But the moment you perform a physical shift, a jump, a step, a deliberate move, the entire network recalculates instantly. You knock yourself out of the old code, and when you land, you land in a new version of the game. It's like restarting a computer. Old errors are cleared and the system begins fresh. Reality updates on the fly. Physical action confirms your intention. For the system, this is a signal. You are no longer just thinking, you are acting. And once that happens, your environment has to change, because your position in the system has changed. Understand this. The jump is not exercise. It is your personal signature on a new agreement with reality. You use your body as a tool to break through the wall between what is and what you want. And the moment your feet touch the ground, there is no way back. You are already in a different version of your life. We are living in a time where the world is no longer solid. It only seemed that way before. It felt like matter was fixed, like you had to struggle for decades to achieve something. But now we understand. This world is an informational environment. And we are not just observers. We are active users. Everything you see, money, relationships, objects, are just icons on the desktop of your consciousness. It makes no sense to try to move an icon with physical force. You have to work with the code behind it. Your internal code is your state. If inside you there is boredom, tension, fear, your screen will reflect exactly that. Play and absurd actions are a backdoor into that code. A shortcut, the fastest way to change the system. The universe responds to those who play. Those who once laughed at these weird methods simply didn't understand one thing. The universe is a living, self-learning system. It is not a strict accountant with a calculator. It is more like a creative intelligence that thrives on improvisation, creativity, and above all, humor. When you are serious, you are predictable. You follow the same patterns, and the system has nothing new to work with. But the moment you drop importance and allow yourself to play, you become aligned with it. You start speaking the same language, the language of creation. And in that moment, you gain access to one of the most powerful tools for changing reality. The start button is in your hands. This is your control panel, your interface with reality. Instead of studying complex theories for years, you simply pick up a magic tool, even if it's just a spoon, and assign meaning to it, and the system responds. Because it reads your state, your joy becomes a command. Today we understand, seriousness is what keeps us locked in old problems, and humor is the key that unlocks them. The world is becoming more flexible. And if you are ready to press start, let go of rigid logic, and allow a little conscious madness into your life, you will see doors open on their own. Remember, in this vast cosmic neural network, the winner is not the one who struggled the most, but the one who played the best. Thank you for being with me on this channel. I wish you the best possible branch of reality. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Take care.